Welcome to another episode of Chancla Talk, where we talk about movies, shows, games, geeky topics that strike our interests. With us, you have Grotesque, our team captain, and my Lilirose Tower. It's great to have Tower back on con nosotros otra vez. Y myself, Grumpy, and today's topic this week's topic is going to be Haunted Casas. So,
Yeah.
terrifying shit. Y empezamos con una de las casas que ya todo el mundo conoce, ¿verdad? It's a Amityville house. The movies have exaggerated a lot of the things happening.
Yes.
Pero, I think it's a lot of based on a lot of truth, right? So, for example, empezamos como the house, Amityville, is actually in Amityville, Long Island, New York, ¿verdad? It's actually, it hosted a murder back in 1974. It's a mass murder, actually. Of a 23-year-old Ronald G. DeFeo Jr. murdered his entire family while they were asleep in the house. So, the events that we see in Amityville Horror in the movie, the books y todo, it's of the family that came to own the house 13 months later, right? And this is the Lutz family.
Mm-hmm.
They purchased a home at a drastically reduced price of $80,000, right? Due to the murders. Nobody fucking wants to buy that shit.
They get eso.
I guess. Pero supuestamente they only lasted 28 days before living it.
Oh.
A poquito.
Yeah, so it's not very long. Con todas las cosas que pasaron. So the Lutz family, here's some facts. El stepfather, George Lutz, which is the guy who wrote the book, de todas las cosas que pasaron, is known to dabble in the occult. ¿Entiendes? So he was known to like the stuff and do rituals y cosas así to call on spirits. So people sort of connect those two as the guy bought the house with the intent of seeing things, ¿entiendes? Or feeling things.
Oh, okay.
So some of the things that he wrote in the book is that he used to wake up at 3:15 a.m. every morning.
Oh, God.
Which is the time que el tipo Ron murdered his family. So at 3:15 in the morning is when he actually murdered his family. So he's saying he kept waking up at that time, feeling uneasy.
But he kept... okay, so it's not that he wanted to wake up at that time, right? It's just that he kept waking up at that time?
He kept waking up, by himself.
Oh, okay,
No, una cosa como que he put the alarms like, oh, this is a
perfect time to do some
up,
spooky shit. Okay, no.
Pilates. Midnight Pilates. So the Lutz family claimed to smell strange odors, see green slime. Ese no me gusta mucho, green slime. Then I guess.
That sounds...
What the fuck is this? Ghostbusters?
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
Out of the walls and keyholes and experience cold spots in certain areas of the house. I think that's very typical of haunted houses.
Pero yeah, no.
Cold spots, strange odors. Not the green slime.
Not the green slime. That sounds off. I think your house is messed up. I don't know.
Algo así.
That's some kind of putrid liquid. That's nastier, though.
Ew.
Pero el resto sí suena familiar, ¿verdad? Strange odors, cold spots in the house.
Exactly. Yeah. Eso sí. That's valid.
So when the priest came to bless the house, supuestamente, according to the Lutz, stepfather George Lutz, he allegedly heard a voice that screamed, "Get out!" Y le dijo a los Lutzes to never sleep in that particular room of the house. That sounds very dramatic, right?
It does.
I feel like no priest is gonna come out. It's like, oh shit, don't sleep in this part of the house, right? But good luck.
Yeah, just like the rest of the house is good.
Right,
he just doesn't want you in that room.
House, not just that room.
Yeah, just that room. This room is fucked up, guys. Just seal it up. Pretend there's no room here.
That is very weird and dramatic.
To get out, I get it, but the whole structure sentence is like, oh, that's too much. That's my bed. Don't sleep in there. Come on.
Yeah. And for those of you guys listening, if you don't notice, we are very critical of shit.
When it comes to haunted places, yes.
Yes, we're very critical, right? Other paranormal activity included a nearby garage door openings and closing. Y supuestamente un spirit knocking a knife down in the kitchen. A pig-like creature with red eyes that was staring down at George and his son Daniel from a window. That's a very specific description. A pig-like
There was a
creature.
pig-like creature looking him through the window?
So, I think they were outside and he was looking through the window to them outside.
That's weird. I've never heard that before. A pig-like
Supuestamente, this is part
creature?
of it, right? Yeah, never heard that shit. In
Okay.
Puerto Rico, we call that pernil.
That's lunch.
Yes, the cabrón is not gonna survive too long. We're gonna eat that shit.
Okay, wait for me there. Give me a second.
Dame un segundo, saca el cuchillo. El cabrón, vamos a comerlo, gente.
Yeah, before the neighbor get it.
So, part of it is also George waking up to wife Kathy levitating off their bed, and sons Daniel and Christopher also levitating together in their beds.
It's a lot of
So
levitation.
it's a lot of whole fucking levitation in the house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody starts floating in the air, yeah, I'd probably get out in 28 days also. Like,
That's how.
Yeah, that's a
not.
very
That's how long it lasted.
aggressive haunting. Yeah, 28 days, right? It seems like a little too short and too aggressive
I mean, who knows?
of a
But
haunting.
I
But if you say that he was like calling to it, then I mean, it might make sense. 'Cause he completely opened the door. It's like, come on.
it's just that
Yeah.
certain things like cross off the others. Like if you tell me a pig-like creature is looking through the window, and then you tell me that there's green ooze coming out of the walls, it sounds so exaggerated, like fake,
It does.
that the rest doesn't
Sounds
seem
like-
real. I don't know.
Sounds like Hollywood underdid it actually, and usually it's quite the
Exactly.
opposite.
So, supuestamente they took a lie detector test. George Lutz and Kathy Lutz, for both of them, and they passed. So
Mala mia.
that proves, no, but it proves that they saw something, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Pero,
Maybe the exaggeration is.
people exaggerate.
Yeah.
Porque todo Puerto Rican tells the truth, but they say it a lot more exciting.
Embellishment.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. I think everybody does it, but
Yeah, everybody does it.
maybe to be.
Cuando hablas con el tío tuyo o algo así, and they tell a story, you're like, this is exaggerated shit.
It
It
was
happened,
a
but-
chihuahua, and now it's a dragon. You know,
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
They took a lie detector, said they'll pass it. Because it's true. They believe what they saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
But that's how people express and share the basically sensation of how
That
they
is true.
feel at that point.
We are essentially
yeah.
storytellers. Yeah.
Right.
So, supuestamente el murderer, que todavía está
Murder.
vivo. Murderer. El tipo que mató a toda la familia.
Yeah.
Dice que he used to hear voices urging him to kill his family.
Oh hell no.
So,
Yeah, and that's very common on houses that are supposedly possessed or demonic stuff inside.
it's a common story. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They hear shit talking to them. Yeah, so. Yeah, supuestamente the house was recently sold again for $605,000, which is still pretty cheap, right? Pasa una casa in New York
Yes. And being
next to the water.
a
yeah.
famous house that people made movies of.
Now, people say that people live there and they haven't felt shit.
Yeah, I saw
Oh.
that. I saw an article. They're just like, yeah, there's like the movies are very exaggerated. Like people have lived there years and they say there's nothing. It's like, oh, okay.
Depends on the family. Some families are more
It
open.
wasn't the
to
house
feel-
then.
Yeah,
That is
so-
true.
Yeah.
I've seen people just not feel anything at all, and they
Yeah.
can go their whole lives and they feel nothing.
Yeah, it's like the typical case of, oh, let me move. Is the house, and they move, and it follows because it wasn't the house. You know, maybe it's
Yeah.
one person of the family.
Well, who knows? I mean, the guy was seeking a house like that. Maybe he was, opening things that he shouldn't.
Yeah, that is true. Any sort of ritual can open a lot of things that should not be opening.
So yeah, that's
Oh, that's Amityville
the
house.
So let's
So
go
very famous. Everybody knows that story. So let's try another one. What's the next?
The next one is the Sterling Castle.
Yeah, so Stirling Castle. Right? I put this one because I visited Stirling Castle quite a few years ago. And it's an interesting place to be, right? It's a castle that has actually seen warfare, has seen death. It's a castle that's still ceremonially used nowadays
Mm-hmm.
because it's a beautiful house. You see the house and it's gorgeous. That castle, I mean.
Is it used? But it's only like for
It's just
like
for
tours?
it's a museum and tours, and they
now
used
it's
it
more
for
tours.
events. It goes on St. Dinner. So it's like
But
Is
it's
it-
pretty cool because on the walls you can see like still like damage to it from like battles and stuff. Like
Oh wow, that's so cool.
cannons and stuff.
yeah. So yeah, no, definitely. There was a huge siege in that castle in 1304. You can still see the marks in the walls, but all the bullets and all the fragments were hitting the walls and tried to knock it down.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually succeeded in knocking down a part of the wall and killing a bunch of people, didn't it? So it's
Oh,
a lot of
wow.
violence
Okay.
around this castle. Very interesting. When you can see it and feel it is different. So I remember going downstairs,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Some piece of it going downstairs, and this room just hit me. Super cold, super heavy.
You can feel it, right?
You can feel it. You
It's
can
the
feel
room
that
that
shit.
leaves a memory. Yeah. There's like 2 rooms in the castle.
Yeah, it's few rooms like it felt like really like this is
Heavy.
weird. Yeah, heavy.
Mm.
And there's stories of ghosts like seen at night walking through the middle of it, and then but that particular room seemed very heavy. If I did more research, and it seems like that room was one of the ones that fell during the siege. So many people died in there.
Oh.
In that room. So I was like, oh shit, it's quantifiable, isn't it? It's like feels dark. There's a reason for it.
Wow.
So
That's so
the
interesting.
the most famous spirit is called the Stirling Castle. It's the Green Lady, they call her. And this is I think a lady that they feel she was known to be in this castle whenever the siege happened,
Mm-hmm.
and they say she keeps coming back, looking for her husband that died there. So they can see her at nights roaming the castles looking for her husband that died in the castle during the siege.
God damn, Lito.
They say like if you see her, usually it's an omen of something bad that is to come. Like once like they saw her and then afterwards like a fire broke out in the castle and
Oh wow.
Yes.
And why is it? Why is she said to be the Green Lady? Or how do I say?
It's-
she
yeah, the green
appears,
lady.
like
I don't
in
know.
a green translucent form.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know what she's wearing green. Maybe she likes the color, but
It's her favorite color. I get it.
Everything's very green over there. She gets rained on a lot.
green is a very important color in Scotland, Mila, in that royalty area.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Makes sense. Maybe it's just to change it up and not call it White Lady like everybody does for all the
I guess
ghosts.
so. It's
Yeah.
different, right?
I think they also
The lady
have
in
a
white.
ghost of the pink lady.
There's a pink
I don't know
one?
if she's there's a pink one. That she was also in the castle during the siege in 1304. It says that she escaped the siege, but she keeps returning. No, this is the one that keeps returning looking for her husband.
Oh, that's the husband one. Okay, so
Yeah.
what's the green one doing?
What's
The
Just
green
down?
one is
Power
just
Ranger of
there.
Ghosts, man.
In the dark.
The green one is just she goes there. She likes to go to the kitchen. Apparently, yeah.
Dito, something hambre.
Feel,
Yeah.
did feel heavy.
Yeah, there's also a male ghost dressed in a Highland kilt who can be
Oh.
seen turning a corner and disappearing through a doorway near the dungeon. So it's a lot of shit going on in this.
Dungeon did feel heavy, but I mean, that kind of goes without saying, right? Even if it had
Any
nothing,
dun-
you would still assume it to feel
Any dungeon feels.
creepy and heavy.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
But yeah, you went down there and you felt like 100 eyes were looking at you. It was like, all right, I'm done. Saw it. Let's go. It's
Pick up the shit, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, I think that's the feeling. When you feel that in the back of your neck, it's like, nope, I'm out. Bye.
nope.
Yeah, I don't want to be here. All right, let's go to the next one, which is the Sao Paulo Joelmo Hotel, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is a sad story, right? We're talking about this hotel was built. When built it?
I don't know, but it was like in February 1st, 1971, 72.
Yeah.
Like it's like this 25-foot skyscraper. Like it had like this electrical problem in the air conditioning, and the building set on fire. And apparently because of so much cheap furniture, synthetic cheap furniture and stuff, that the fire spread immediately like throughout the building. And ¿cómo se llama? It ended up with like 300 people injured and 187 people died that day.
Oh, wow.
And but the thing is that that's not like the first thing that to happen at that place. Supuestamente, ages ago, the place belonged to like a chemist,
Mhm.
and he was ¿cómo se llama? He was like engaged or something to be married, and his mother did not approve of who he was with. So his mother was plotting like to break them up, and once he found out this, he got very upset and he murdered his mom and his sisters, and he buried them
Oh,
like
shit.
on the property. So then like he told everybody, they went off to a trip far away, and el half brother didn't believe him, and the half brother went and called the police, and supuestamente that's whenever they found out. So everybody now believes like the land is cursed, and that's what happened con el building este que set on fire. And like they've rebuilt on the land, but people can still say like that they see like fantasma and things walking around, at that odd things still happen like in the area. Yeah, so
Oh, wow.
It's definitely a very sad story. You can see videos of the fire actually, didn't it? People jumping, burning
Oh,
in the air.
wow. That's
Yeah, so among all the people that died, there's 13 bodies that were not identified, that remain unidentified today.
Oh wow.
That were found embracing each other inside an elevator.
ay, Dios mío.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Some of them
tragic.
dehydrated, had inhaled too much smoke. Yeah, so that's
It's so sad.
part of the legend that grows with that place. Is that 13 souls. And 13, right, is such a number of,
yeah, it's already
Of
a very
everything, yeah.
superstitious number.
yeah. So adding that, so that adds to the,
To
the
the
story of the
weirdness
place.
of it. Yeah.
yeah. And it's a big building, didn't it? So all those deaths is really on fire. That thing was burning up. A lot of people died, so you can imagine there's shit happening there.
You gotta imagine that's gotta be one of the really bad ways to die too. I mean,
Absolutely.
burnt
Horrible.
Oh,
alive.
for
and
sure.
That's how come so many people also jumped, because it was like preferred to jump than escape the fire. Okay.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
Yes.
Um,
All right. Next one.
so yeah, Nara, we can go to the ones that we found from Puerto Rico.
Yes. Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Ahí tenemos 3, ¿verdad? El convento. So,
Uy.
empezamos con el convento. Sí, el convento. Todo el mundo ha visto el convento, ¿verdad?
Yes,
Sí.
for sure.
You pass by it and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, that looks kind of weird. Feels,
No, creepy.
yeah, it's weird or creepy, right? So, supuestamente, one of the stories is the original founder of the place, right? Of the convento.
Mm-hmm.
Que se llamaba Mother Superior Doña Ana Alonso y Menéndez de Valdés.
Yeah, diantre.
So it is said, yes, the number is strong. They don't make names like that anymore.
No, not like that.
Just one name. So it is said that her phantom is seen roaming the halls of the property. Some say that she's usually praying. That makes sense. She's a nun.
She's a nun.
Some of the nuns, some of the are supposedly haunting the hotel as well. Commonly cited supernatural activity of the paranormal is hearing and the swishing sounds of the nuns' robes echoing through the hotel halls.
Do robes make sounds?
They do. If you walk, like,
Yeah, they do. Depends on the
slapping
floor.
of the fabric, but you can hear like the fabric.
Si estás
Yeah,
en
especially
esa.
in those structures, there's very echoey.
Sí.
It is.
As a halls que están bien cubiertos y eso, I'm pretty sure it echoes, so you can hear that.
I can kind of imagine
So-
the sound to it. I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Now it's a hotel, right? The place?
Yes.
It
Un
is?
beautiful hotel.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Supuestamente, some of the guests have claimed that Doña Ana has awoken them when they've slept in too late.
Oh,
Hola,
damn.
the
Gotta
afterlife.
sleep
Very
early, me
like
chaves. Sí
old,
duerman.
very Latina thing, yeah.
Typical
Wake
Puerto
up, it's
Rican.
prayer time.
Yep.
Doña
Others hear
Ana, no.
chants and ghostly prayers. And others have heard the chains being dragged through the halls as well.
Chains.
Yes. So I don't know if the. I don't know. I don't know why chains. It's a weird thing.
Slaves.
Maybe. Shit, I don't know what the hell was
Those
happening
are
at
all
Convento.
buildings.
I mean,
true.
who knows? It's very old
Who knows?
structures.
That's true. So that is creepy. I mean, it's not one of the most terrifying. No
I guess
one's-
because
it
you
seems like-
kind of consider her to be a nun, but it's still creepy. It's like, go rest, ma'am. It's
Well, she funded the place. She's the one that funded the place to be built, and then she became Mother Superior. So she really has an attachment to this place because she's
It
the one
makes
that funded the
sense.
thing
Yeah.
to the king to build up that monastery.
Yeah, it makes sense que ella esté ahí todavía.
She lives there.
She lives there. She built that. She literally walks around the halls with a song. I built this city on rock.
Go on schedule, like sleeping
Yes.
schedule.
You can get your wake your ass up. It's late.
It's late. You gotta go to bed. Dito, she's just trying to make you go to sleep early, and people are
she
getting
wants you to
freaked
go see
out.
the sights. Go, wake up, go.
So, yes. Después tenemos el Castillo San Cristóbal, which I think Lilirose.
It's very
I've
I've
Loves
dramatic.
the
never
story.
heard this story before. Okay, so it
I didn't
stood out.
know.
It's very Shakespearean.
I didn't know that either. First time I heard about that.
It was very Shakespearean. Very dramatic.
Very interesting story.
And I
It's
learned
different.
about que hay un libro que se llama Leyendas y Tradiciones Puertorriqueñas, que it's where they got the story from. So I didn't know
Oh.
about that.
Okay.
Learned, you see, I learned a few things. But yeah, it was Maria Dolores, which she was the daughter of the executioner, and unfortunately, she fell in love with a ruffian.
Oh no.
And yes, and then her father was the one who put the punishment. He hanged him from the gallows, which Maria aparentemente no sabía. And whenever Maria finds the body, she's completely distraught, and she comes and she hangs herself next to him. So el próximo día, cuando viene el papá to collect the body, he ends up finding his daughter hung next to her lover. And yeah, that's
Very
I didn't
Romeo
know
and
about
Juliet
it
kind of
sounded
thing.
very yeah.
Yeah.
Real romantic shit. Yeah.
So yeah, after that, like, she's the one haunting the place, or
Yeah, they say that you can still see both of them like on the ground. So yes, so
Yeah. But that place is full of stuff, right? You can still see like soldiers walking around. You can see other stuff.
yeah, there's
isn't
Right.
there like
Yeah.
something like that you said where like that they ended up finding like a bunch of clothes and weapons and stuff tirado por ahí, and they couldn't find the people.
La carita del diablo, que era la parte de abajo. They used to
Oh.
post soldiers there and they used to disappear. And El rumor era que se iban con las Indias, pero that doesn't seem like India place to be washing fucking clothes. So,
Maybe se fueron con las indias y dejaron la ropa.
sí.
I don't know. It seems
No,
off.
yo no sé quién se desnuda completo y sale corriendo, pero.
Some kind of psychedelic thing.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
But it
Supuestamente
could
it
be
happened
like,
multiple
yeah,
times.
exaggerated. Maybe se quitaron like su uniform coat o algo because it's uncomfortable. Y dejaron el sword and se fueron. And then the story became, se fueron desnudos. They took off everything.
Right.
maybe, yeah.
No, esto
That's
se
how it
puede
works.
ver,
Like,
Yo
it
vi el
gets,
diablo venir y se lo llevó.
and
Eso
they,
no había.
yeah, be careful what you say. It's gonna get very literal.
Yes.
Then they found them in Rincon,
Sí.
dancing and partying.
Yeah.
Where we
Mira,
left
you
our
left your
clothes.
Ay. Ok. Entonces la última casa es la casa del Mustang en Mayagüez, Puerto Rico.
This one's
This
everywhere.
This is everywhere, surprisingly, for being such a small
Surprising.
house and such a not very specific story.
I think we all
Questionable
value so
story.
much
Questionable. Questionable.
classic cars over there that we're like, it must be haunted to have abandoned a car. It's
Sí, tú sabes que en Puerto Rico nadie deja un Mustang abandonado, ¿entiendes? Someone's going to try to fix it and do shit with it.
So
So, supuestamente,
Yeah.
yeah. Tell us, Grotesque, you read the story, right, or no?
I read a little bit. I don't know much, but supuestamente the person that owned this house, you can do it. You can do it because I don't know all the facts and I don't want to mess it up. I feel like I don't
I
have.
don't fucking know. I don't think there's any facts with
think
this one.
anybody
I
knows
think
all
that
the facts.
the story goes that some family was going through financial problems
Okay, I was gonna say
and they
that.
were doing occult stuff. They made a devil, a pact with the devil, but I'm thinking it's more like they were going through trouble and that's when strange shit started happening, didn't it? Apparitions, weird sightings. Yeah, so supuestamente the house was abandoned after too much of that. To include abandoning a car in it. And that's what it's in la casa del Mustang. Porque tiene un Mustang in the garage que no one has been able to take. Supuestamente there's people try to take in it. And in the process of taking it, things break, chains snap, and they can't take it. So they leave el carro ahí with it.
So what happened with the family?
Supuestamente they left. They abandoned the place.
Oh,
So
It
with
was
that
so
thing,
bad.
yeah.
It was so bad that they left the place and no one knows anymore about it. So it's been abandoned for years. But it's a very small house. I mean, it's a typical Puerto Rican house, right?
Yeah, I just
Cuadrito.
I find it strange that I guess it's a story that can be easily just like manipulated into like being a haunting, but it can really not just be a haunting.
right after
Yeah.
Maria. I mean, there's a ton of houses that are just abandoned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just feels like maybe he messed up and he left the car behind and
yeah.
Everybody's
they
like,
moved to
"Ah."
another place.
yeah, it feels weird, but it's weird that it's like in all the pages of like you find
Yeah,
you're
it's
looking up
really a lot
research
of
and it's there and it's like what is with the story that people really think it's that haunted, but it's there.
But yeah, like the neighbors say that like sometimes like they see like lights turn on and stuff in the house and like that the atmosphere feels heavy around there.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Pero at the same time, I see so many graffiti.
That's
think
what I
a
was gonna
lot
say.
of
Might be
people
there with
in
the
it-
flashlights.
Yeah, could be with the flashlights and making noises in it,
Exactly. Could be.
adding to the story.
All right. So,
So yeah,
what do you guys think about this?
but the Mustang,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure at this point it could be some reality to it, but not
Yeah.
not to the point of exaggeration que tienen.
I mean,
Probably.
but based on my experience, this is like 90% of what you can feel in an old house in Puerto Rico.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's so many similar cases. They abandon the house. Creepy.
Yeah.
They just need to wash it out, and that's it.
Una pinturita, una
Yeah.
bendición. y ya.
Exacto, mira esa casa.
And
If you just clean it up, man, it doesn't look haunted, guys. Just gotta clean
Tiene
it.
la reja esa, que no es una cárcel, coño.
See?
But
Yeah,
again, yeah, based on my experience as well, there's a lot of creepy stuff that actually happened, and people had to leave.
Yes,
No, of course,
that is
yeah.
true.
Like
That is true.
the thing with Puerto
But so they
Rico
put
is
this
that
on the pages, like this is a really hot spot place or whatever. Is like, I think it's generalizing a lot.
true,
Yeah, it is.
but it feels like
It's not very specific. The story is not very specific.
yeah,
it's not.
It's just economic problems. Y después hicieron un pact in the middle of Holy Week, supuestamente. And then events abounded where the owner left the house with a classic Mustang in perfect condition at the time. And since they've seen, yeah, it's just a typical story, right? You see shit and then you leave it.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of houses like that in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense, right? Latinos, we just fucking leave.
It
Yeah,
makes
otro-
sense. We
Americans, they stay there and they make movies and books about it. They become rich. Maybe we should stay longer in those places then.
Oh no, man, no.
Maybe we got this all wrong.
And I think this is a perfect transition to talk about our own experiences in haunted casas in places.
we've got a lot.
A lot to talk about. And yep. So, ¿con quién quiere
Get away,
empezar?
guys.
I mean,
Grotesque.
at least me and you have a lot just just together. The same. We've moved a lot around, so
Yes.
we've experienced a lot of things in different places. But the one that we felt that has been memorable has always been Aguada, right?
Yes. This is a house in Aguada that we used to live when we were younger. For those you don't know, then Grotesque and I are brother and sister, so that's why we have a lot of similar stories
Yes.
when it comes to some of those experiences. So this one's particularly in Aguada. It used to be an old house that we moved into, and immediately you can feel the heaviness in it.
Oh God, yeah.
Remember that? You can just feel it. You feel it everywhere.
Yes.
Almost every room, especially the hallway, you can feel how bad it was. And there's things that you can feel on the hallway. Yes, just look down the hallway. You can hear footsteps. There's a lot of weird shit happening in that place. Not just the house, but the grounds I'm being.
The grounds, yeah.
So I recall this time, I went down I had like 6 acres, something like that. And all the neighbors had like a bunch of acres too. So it was a lot of spacious,
Yeah.
very spacious.
Mm-hmm.
So I recall going with Raptor, which is my brother, going down the path, a couple of acres into the property. There's a creek, and the whole thing feels kind of eerie.
Yeah.
And we were walking up the creek, and we find this bridge, small bridge, old cement bridge crossing the properties. And I felt this weird sensation, like someone was watching me, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And this weird instinct that your body gives you, like run.
Yeah.
It's a weird sensation, but your body tells you, it's like, get the fuck out of there. It's something weird.
Yep.
So I remember feeling something in that bridge, something bad. So me and my brother, he felt it too. So we just like ran up, lo que sea, didn't they?
Oh,
And we told our
God.
parents, lo que sea. Then come to find out, que supuestamente, I don't know why our parents decided to move into this fucking house. Someone was murdered in the fucking bridge down there.
He just tells you this, right?
Yeah, it's
wow.
it's like, it's fucking common knowledge.
It's like, yeah, this is why I got here. It's like, what? I really wanted
why?
this house. I heard the story, and I really wanted to get this house.
Yeah, and our parents is like that. Yeah, a little bit into the occult. I think in the 90s, everybody was into the occult.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think
Okay.
this was as you guys think.
Sorry.
Oh no, everybody. There's a lot of magazines out there. So the whole property was known to have that. A lot of people who was into the occult also lived in that house too, didn't it? So they did supuestamente a lot of rituals being in the house being done. So you can feel things. I don't think you remember this part, Grotesque.
Oh God, what are you gonna tell me?
I don't know if you remember,
Hmm.
but I remember one day, one night, you woke up screaming,
Oh God.
like losing your mind. And I run to the back of the house because this weird house. It was our parents' house, and next to it, our parents' room, and next to it is another little room, and that was your room,
Uh-huh.
right? Because
Oh
you
God,
were the one who.
yes.
Yes. And you woke up screaming, and I ran over there, and you are like sobbing. You are incredibly full of fear. And you're like losing your mind, didn't it? So what the fuck happened, didn't it? And everybody's like, supuestamente something grabbed your leg and pulled you in the middle of the night,
Yes. Wow,
right?
like, oh God,
You
yes.
remember that?
I remember part of it. I remember screaming it out, and I remember like the feeling of like, because it was like at that time, like I used to get like a lot of the like paralyzed, like the sleep paralysis thing.
Mhm.
But not a lot. It was just like whenever things started going down a lot, and like it felt like some ghostly something was around. But
Yeah.
this one actually grabbed me, and
You felt it.
I felt it. Like I felt the pull. Right? It was different.
I had so many nightmares like that. I did not think that could happen for real though.
No,
That's crazy.
like yeah, I would get a lot of experiences like when like I would get like bad dreams in that house, like a lot of them. And I
Mhm.
never even knew until like recently that I would tell you like, guys, like I remember I had dreams like these, and you're like, yeah, we were all having them, and
Yes.
um like it came with the property, like there was something in the backyard, and I'm like, I didn't know this, guys. I needed some information. I didn't know this. I guess since I was younger, you guys were trying to protect me from like the knowledge of everything around me, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was
you were very young, so we don't want to tell you.
yeah, you guys always kept the stuff. So yeah, protecting me sometimes made it like I never knew about these things. So now knowing them, it creeps me out even more when I had all these experiences. Because you know I would feel them and I would have them, and I didn't know that you guys knew, right? So
Yeah.
it comes with the thing. It's that house. I remember that room. I don't know why I got that room. Did I pick
I
it
don't know.
or somebody gave it to me? Because I think that was the darkest room in the house.
I think you're right? Because it also had a door towards a bathroom in the outside too, right?
Yes. But that room felt
And
like
that
torture. I don't know. That room was always felt so dark. I hated
that
it.
room was the closest one to the buried stuff in the backyard.
In the backyard, yeah.
So supuestamente this house was used by a lot of people who do witchcraft and stuff. And when the owners died, they bury all the stuff in the backyard.
Exactly.
All their tools, all the things they used.
That's something I
Uh,
didn't know.
that's something we knew.
And then I was
Lucky you,
having
your room was the closest to it.
yay. I was having nightmares of that same thing, which is weird. I was having nightmares. I was waking up like terrified because like I would have dreams of people in white in the backyard, just like doing a ritual around that big tree. There was a huge tree in the back.
Like mango tree.
Yeah, it took the whole, it shaded the whole backyard basically.
It's incredibly big, yeah, massive.
It
And
sounded more creepy when she said big tree. You put mango tree and then it's
it sounds
bright,
funny,
colorful.
right?
Yeah,
Huge.
it
It
is.
was a beautiful tree, but it felt weird, awkward being back there. I hated being back
It
there.
wasn't a small tree, yeah. It's like I couldn't even hug it.
It was
Right.
all the
It was
bodies fertilizing it, guys.
Probably, I'm not kidding. It felt weird. It felt super. But then, yeah, I would have like these nightmares of like people having rituals back there and like chanting and music. And then I would tell my father, like, here, I had this nightmare. And he's like, oh, yeah. Like, they were not surprised. Now I know. You know, they were not surprised at all. Now I know.
Yeah, and we kept having these dreams of like people being buried in the property. So it's I think there's a lot more to the story that we didn't even know.
Oh well.
So it's a really, really dark property.
It's a place that we always talk about, and we're like, should we just try and go back and see what the heck was going on in the house?
Yes. In Raptor, we talk about that all the time. It's like that's a place that we can purchase and leave it there and then try to do more study on it.
That's always interesting.
Just to study the place.
Are we gonna make money from that?
I guess so.
We're gonna do the American way of making books and
Yes.
and movies, because that's how we're supposed to be making money for this, guys. We're doing this wrong.
Yeah.
You just gave away your story for free.
Yep.
Do not
Oh.
steal our story.
Oh, we got a lot more details. Okay, so this one I'm gonna tell more ahead, right? Because this is Ponce, Puerto Rico. This has happened more with our grandma's place.
Oh God,
Goodness.
Yeah. So
I hated that
this was
house.
more me and Raptor in that house. I'm pretty sure you felt some of it.
Yeah, I was
So the
little,
thing-
but yeah.
We're little. We're very little. We're very small. So this house, we always felt something. There's always things my grandma used to say. Yeah, there's something at night that I run into, and I just tell them go away. It's very casual.
She's very
Yeah,
casual about it. Yeah, she was very casual.
Something I need to. Yeah, I say go away. I don't like it. Like, okay. So in the back there was a room that her sister used to live in, and she died there. And she was a good person, didn't she? She was really nice. Yeah, so I don't think she had anything negative. I don't think she was negative.
Yeah.
You know. Pero supuestamente maybe she had something negative with her. There's all the stories that she never got married. All the stories that I think she got married once, and there's something bad happened, something got attached to her, something like that. I don't know the full story, but there's some backstory that gets weird. So I'll start with this story that started with you can always see things, you can feel it. You can hear footsteps, you can hear things. I remember when I was small once, very small, I went to bed, and my mom closed the door and she like yelled at us and didn't. It's like, go to bed, stop messing around. So me and Raptor, I was like, okay, fuck it, we're going to bed. So we're in bed and the light flicks on
Oh no.
and she comes in storming, right? Losses her mind. What the hell? I told you to turn off the lights. And I think she saw the fear
In your eyes.
in our eyes and she fucking noticed that it wasn't us. Because then she's like, okay. And she turned it off and went away.
Se quedó pasma.
Yeah. Se quedó pasmada, and then she's like, instead of taking us out of the room, she's like, turn off the lights. Like, okay, it wasn't you guys. Bye.
Yeah, she had a way with like being like, this is not
Yeah.
happening, guys. But then she
Yeah,
would leave
she's
us
trying
there.
Yeah, she was trying to protect us, and it's like, nothing's happening. But we knew better, right? It's like, fuck, I didn't turn off the light. That thing turned on myself.
Where?
So I remember,
Oh yes.
yeah, another story that she had, my mom, is that she woke up screaming. I remember this.
I remember.
She woke up, yeah, screaming. Esto fue en Ponce todavía. ¿Entiendes?
In the same house, right? In
like
the
my-
same room, right? Okay.
Her that room across, like, and she just screams, and my grandma comes in. So what the hell happened, didn't it? And she said she said she woke up, looking up, and in her face, floating above her, was a man, looking at her.
Oh wow.
Wait, that's creepy.
I never heard that
Yeah.
one. I heard the other one there.
No. Which one?
I heard the one that she woke up and there was a lady in a dress in the doorway.
No, that one happened in Vega Alta. Not
That was
Ponce.
Vega Alta?
Yes.
But she said
So-
that her mom just got up and that was Vega Alta still?
Yes, I remember Vega Alta, right? Because I'll tell you that one now, right? Pero en esta, supuestamente, there was a guy floating above her, very long nose, very flaco, supuestamente.
Mm-hmm.
And she started screaming.
Oh God. I never heard that
So the
story.
Vega Alta one,
Mm-hmm.
I remember that because I was sleeping in la sala, in the sofá cama.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I was. Oh, because grandma was there. So grandma was sleeping in our room. And I hear the scream. And it's a small house. Like, está la sala, cuarto
Yeah.
ahí. Everything's right there next to each other. And it's like, oh, she woke up screaming. We go there. And she says, yeah, I saw that person standing right there next to the bathroom. That's where I was standing. You know?
You're a young kid at
But
this
it was
point?
you
Yeah.
or was grandma?
No. What do you mean?
The-
No, grandma was there.
oh, okay.
So
Okay.
grandma was her already in the room. Cuando pegó el
Oh,
grito.
okay.
¿Entiendes? So she saw someone there that stared at her supuestamente the whole time,
Oh, that's freaking
like a
creepy.
good 10 seconds staring at her as she disappears.
Wow.
Supuestamente she was wearing like old clothes, old stuff. Like typical era, como los 40s y eso. So it wasn't
Yes.
too old, but it was there.
Yeah.
Now the interesting part of that one, okay, I remember as a kid digging through the house, the property,
Mm-hmm.
and you can find like old stuff, vases y eso. So I'm guessing there was someone lived in that property before we built our house, ahí pequeña.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, for the Ponce, going back to Ponce, that property, I think years later, and this was like the last event we had before we're like, fuck it, we're not going back to the house.
Yeah.
It was the middle of the night. I woke up, ¿verdad? And I couldn't sleep, right? The raptor conmigo in bed. Our uncle had a house across the street. You were there with mom.
Yeah.
So I was there, and I
Oh.
woke up in the middle of the night, right? And I turned around, I like face down, and I don't know what happened, but I felt like this cold, and I felt, the end of the feet of the bed.
Yes.
The feet sank into the bed like someone sitting there,
Oh God.
and my
Oh,
feet
no.
were like into the hole.
Oh.
Then I felt the fucking bed go down and squeak.
Like somebody sat down on it, right?
Yes, like someone fucking sat on it. And my feet like went into the hole. So I know there's fucking nobody there. I just fucking woke up. I turned the light. Lost my mind.
Wow.
Raptor woke up in a second too. I just turned the light. Raptor's next to me standing. What the fuck happened?
How old was I? Because I remember I was with mommy.
Yes.
But I do remember us going across the street towards the other house.
Yes.
But I don't remember how old I was for that.
At that point, I think I was in middle school, maybe.
Yeah, okay. I know I was older because I
So-
was like, okay, but I don't know if Tonquito was
Old
there.
enough to remember, but it wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
we were still young. So as we are like, I grabbed my pillow. It's like, fuck this. I'm going across the street.
Where were you going across the street to?
Because across the house of grandma, the cross was the house of our uncle.
Yes.
Okay.
So he lived. He didn't live there. He lived in the States,
Yeah,
but he had a house there that we used to sort of
used to
sleep in
sleep.
whenever we visited grandma. Yeah. But for some reason, my mom volunteered me and my brothers to sleep with grandma to make her feel better. Even though we had a perfectly safe house across the street.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. But yes.
As I'm walking out, I think there were cats. But we talk about, there were sounds that sounded like someone growling as I'm at the door.
Oh
get
God.
out.
I got chills.
And they were coming from the back of the house towards the room that we were sleeping in. They were like, I think they were cats, didn't they? But those cats sounded fucking demonic.
But it's the
sounded weird.
timing too. Like why is it
It sounded so bad. Yeah, I don't know if it sounded like humans growling, didn't they?
yeah. But even if it was
Now,
cats,
we're very critical,
you know?
we're really logical, and we're like, there's no fucking cats. But the timing and the turn of events, this is not coincidental.
Yeah.
This is leaving the house. This is happening. It's like the last. It felt like a last get the fuck out.
Yes,
As I'm walking out.
that's crazy.
So that's the last one, and that's the last time I slept there ever.
Thankfully, we didn't have to
Yep.
go back
I
there
learned my
again.
lesson. I told my mom, if you want to sleep there, but I'm not going there.
That's
Yep.
crazy.
And that's the last one for that one. But I think you also had a bunch of experiences later on, right?
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, I used to have a lot. There's like a bunch because I've seen a lot of things after. I've seen some. You had already left for this, right? Because you're older.
Yeah. I left.
In Aguadilla, I always had one there. But also when I went to live in San Germán, que Tower can help me on this. That house there, oh my god, like it's dark.
Fully demonic shit. Yeah,
It
sorry.
feels like super dark. Not as much as grandma's. I think that was like top tier. But like this one, like it has so much like negative energy. Like it's dark in the sense of like whatever is there isn't very happy at all. Like it's very dark. But yeah, Tower, if you want to say more about it.
So much. Let me choose and pick here.
What's your top thing there that you feel like it was?
Okay. So a little bit of background. So I will start with one of the first events. When I was in 5th grade, my family was building the house and basically in a private place, so we can have own stuff and not worry about neighbors and stuff. So that was great until you start seeing the house getting built. It's a place that surrounded by trees. There's nothing else
El
around.
campo.
There was not even an electrical pole or anything. There was no light. Um,
Yep.
but anyway, moving a little bit forward, it was a 2-floor house, 3 floors house basically. They have a room at the bottom that is not technically a basement; it's a full room, um, with an entrance from the outside. So the plan was that my grandparents were gonna live on the first floor, and my brothers, gonna live on the second floor. So my mom decided to move ahead of time without waiting for the full house to be built. So there was like 2 extra rooms on the first floor on the back side of the house that had to be built. So they had like the outer layer, but not the inside, all in concrete. So the way to go to my mom's house on the second floor, there was a uh, the the stairs were built in concrete, but then there was like a panel makeshift kind of bridge connected to my mom's door, because underneath those 2 rooms were still pending to be built, right? So
Okay.
there was this squishy kind of small bridge that if you walk on it, you can hear like this squishy noise, like crackling.
Yeah.
Uh, it was temporary, like a 1 or 2 month kind of thing. Only one person can go at a time. Um, so my mom was like, "Okay, I want to just move there already. Like that's it. I just want to move." Okay, but I was like, "Hey, I want to go with you." And again, I'm just a kid at that point, but I don't feel confident leaving her alone in the middle of nowhere without electricity. We had a gas generator, and that's it. But when it was nighttime, it's only pitch black. That's it.
Yeah.
So anyway, fast forward a little bit. Her room was had a small hole. Um, the again part of the construction. That hole you can overlook to the makeshift bridge. If you just peek in, you can see basically if someone is standing by the door. That
Mhm.
means on top
Okay.
of the makeshift bridge.
Oh shit.
So every night, I mean, we were sleeping in separate rooms until she just basically lose her stuff. She was like, "Nah, there's someone at the door." So I started sleeping with her. in her own room because she don't feel confident sleeping alone anymore. And again, I'm a kid, and my mom is stressed out, like she's like losing it. The point is that basically every night, as random times after midnight, not a specific time, you can hear someone coming across the bridge,
Oh,
the wood panel. You can hear them. Like you can even mimic the same sound. If you go out and try to walk across, is the same sound as the person walking in. But then I started counting the steps, and it's the same length from when you start hitting the wood until you get to the door. Because after that
oh.
point, it's concrete, so you don't hear anymore the wood part. So you can assume that the thing is coming inside the house,
That's
Oh,
crazy.
and
Oh,
that was every night. And it got to a
boy.
point that we were like, okay, that's it. Um, Either we need more people in the house so we can, get more distraction at night and stuff.
yeah.
But we I endured that for months until they actually built the other two rooms, and now it's a full concrete stairs
So
to go
now
to my mom's.
there's footsteps, but you can't hear them.
Now you can't hear them. Yeah.
Now
That's
the
a,
person is going, but it's a concrete floor. So and this is the introduction to connect with what Grotesque probably gonna mention,
Yes.
and this is part of the story of my mom's side and everybody's side. The point
Yes.
is that that was the only interaction that my mom's could agree with me that there's some ghostly shit in here
And she
because
always felt like something was going into her room too. No, I think she
oh no,
said
yeah, I will touch that too. That was more recent. But the point is that no one used to believe me. I used to be like, hey, I like all this occult stuff, and reading in Puerto Rico is like getting this ovni UFO stuff. You start getting into all the weeds.
yeah.
oh
So
yeah, you can go really deep there.
exactly. So, but no one actually believed me. Like this house, there's something wrong. Since well, even before that, like when the house was in construction, my grandpa used to take me in. He used to have one of these Volkswagen, so I used to sleep in the Volkswagen. So I started getting a lot of nightmares just by sleeping in that car, and that spanned like 7 years because he built the house by himself, like a part-time gig. He was like after work, he just go alone and start putting pieces together. So
Okay.
there's a lot of background story and a lot of bad feeling on the house because it feels so desolate, and it was, and that was the reason we wanted that property. But it feels weird. It didn't feel like safe in a
Yeah,
way.
they built something on like that land has something. It's
That land has something really,
for
really
sure.
powerful. But yeah, going a little bit again, she's in pick here, connecting to probably what Grotesque gonna mention. My mom used to feel someone laying down on her bed at night, and that happened for more than a year, I think. Random moments, and eventually initially she thought it was her husband, and when she asked him, "Hey, at what time you go home?" and no one answered, you know, she started realizing that it was only the bed pushing down. Like there's a massive weight on the bed, but there's no one. And then it got more aggressive that she could not talk. When she felt that presence on her back, it was always on her back.
She got
When she
Okay.
burnt
was
out.
laying
Oh,
down,
wow.
that thing laying down was actually laying down behind her. And when that happened, she couldn't scream, she could not do anything, only cry basically. So it was like tr- uh, screaming internally, but not being able to express it.
Mm,
Damn.
Um,
I
so
hate
yeah,
that.
that happens for a long time, and again, all that connect with the timing of that person going up the stairs,
Yes.
and we eventually saw the person, especially you,
God,
Grotesque. I
I
mean,
saw it
you can talk
full
about it.
HD.
Um,
Yeah, I like at the time we were living like in this little house in the back. Um and like it has the view of like those stairs, right? So the stairs are right in front of that little house. And so we had a dog at that moment que se llamaba Dante. It's Tower of Swords. dog, and he would actually like stare out, right? At certain times at night, he would like. Give me a second. Is this? Yeah. He would like all of a sudden like stare out, because sometimes I would feel like there was a light bulb right there at the bottom of the stairs, and sometimes you could see like a shadow go over it, like it would block the light. And I felt like I was going crazy because I would see the shadow. But then I would notice that at the same time I would see that shadow, the dog would also like look that way. Like I wasn't going crazy. Like the dog was noticing the shadow was something is there at the same time that I was. And I kept seeing that shadow over and over again, like every other night or so. And it just kept going like that. But eventually there was one night, and I remember we were playing Gears of War. And then it was really late though. It was so late. I don't remember the time, but it was late as hell. And then all of a sudden like the TV was like in direction of that window that looks towards the staircase, right? So I'm sitting in an angle that I can see part of that window and the TV. So I start like, I'm playing, I'm like concentrating on the game. And then all of a sudden, like I see like somebody's walking across. So I like not stand up, I look out the window. And I'm like thinking it's somebody from the house, like, you know, his mom or his brothers or whatever, right? So I look out and I'm like, when I look that direction, all I see is like a white like silhouette, right? But like you can see everything, like it's transparente, pero it was a male figure, and it had like un sombrero, like como si fuera, kind of like it was old-fashioned military. And then like era como que flaquito, pero like he was really tall. And then I see him going towards that same light and then like vanish, right?
But you saw this like it's
Completito.
middle of the day.
Yeah.
Completito. It wasn't like
Exactly. Like no,
not a corner of your eye.
it
You're
was
just
not,
fucking looking at
because
it.
I looked at it
Yeah.
and I thought it was somebody like from the house over there, but no, it was that dude walking across, and I immediately knew what it was. Like I freaked out because I just stood up and tiré control. I just threw it. And I just backed up. I remember backing up to the wall. I just kept walking back, but I kept telling Tower, can you please check if there's somebody outside? Can you please check if there's somebody outside? I think there's somebody outside. I didn't tell him what I saw, like if it was a ghost or anything. I just told him, can you please go check outside? And he ran out and he checked. There was nobody there. And then I started like crying. I was like crying.
By the way, props to Tower for checking, because that would have been like, fuck no, let's lock the
no,
door.
When he's protecting my family or my house, I just go face in, like, let's fight, dude.
Yeah, and he didn't know, like all he thought was like maybe there was somebody outside, like, you know, as a person. But then he came.
Fighting a ghost.
Yeah, he's fighting a ghost. But then he came back in. Then he came back in, and I'm like I was crying and crying. I'm like, no, I saw something that like I told them everything, and yeah, that's the moment I knew, like, yeah, that dude just keeps walking back and forth there, man, every night. Like that's when I knew, like, that's him. And that to me, like, I still think about it. Me dan como que sentimiento y todo. Like it's like it was rough.
So what kind of? Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask. So what kind of hat was it? You said it had a hat?
It felt like it was like, it looked like a military kind of hat, but it felt like it
Straight.
But it was like like
Probably
small.
a Spaniard kind of thing.
Spanish hat looking thing.
Yeah, one of the background I managed to find out about that place is that the whole place, I don't know how long it spanned, but it's huge area of where we used to live. used to be crops and fields and stuff like that, and there was a lot of slavery involved. Obviously, the workers were slavers at that point in history. Um, so it's expected that a lot of people die by overwork conditions. So yeah, but that what Grotesque saw is basically a confirmation of, okay, I'm not damn crazy. Like there's a lot going on here.
There was a lot.
But I never saw it like she did saw it like that. You know, that was a full representation, and we're not talking about there's not even 5.5 feet distance from where she saw this and the light and the stairs.
It's
You know,
not far
right
away.
there.
It's not far away. It's like really close.
That-
It's like 10
yeah,
feet away
every
the
night-
most.
Exactly. Every night someone walk, even a cat, you can just see it, even the shadow reflection and everything. But that one's a whole person just walking in, and then that connect with what my mom feel on her bed. Then those steps going through the makeshift bridge, and that never ended. Like that never ended.
That place has like a lot of things, and I do like most of my like, and that's not even like the only thing, you know. I felt other things. I've had somebody like, I still don't know what it was, but somebody called my name through the window, and I answered stupidly like, "Boy," and then I feel like
Yeah, because we're used to people from our family, my family, calling you or calling me every single time, even at 1 a.m. Maybe something happened in the parking, you know?
yeah. So I was imagining it was one of his brothers or something. So I'm like, boy, when I opened the door, there's nobody. It was nighttime. And I felt so stupid. I closed the door quick, and I'm like, I hope I didn't invite this shit in. Like, so in my mind, I'm like,
invited so many people.
please don't. Like, go away.
¿Cómo sonó la voz?
It sounded like a male, but it like the thing that I said boy is because Tower had left immediately, like 10 minutes before. So I was like, he forgot something, right? So I'm like, I heard my name, and I'm like, boy. Before immediately, I'm right next to the door, so I immediately open. There's nobody there, and I look around. I looked around the house just in case, and then I went
There's
back.
no time for anyone to run ni nada or irse. It's right there.
It was right there because I was right next to the door, right next, like right there. There's no way. Boy, abro la puerta, nada. And then I felt terrible. Like I got chills and I got scared, and I'm like, like that's the worst part because they're telling your name. It's personal. They're telling your name, and then you don't know. Like you answered like it was invite. Like I don't know. It freaked me out.
Yeah.
And he
That's
just left
interesting.
to work, so you were alone for the rest of the night.
Then I was
Yes.
freaking out at work. You know, it's just like, man, what is this? The
Yeah.
thing here is that house, just even by talking about this, because it's not one thing like Grotesque said, is even before we were living in that small house in the back, it's like, you know, since the beginning there's stuff happening, but some of them kept escalating, some of them we ignored them because we get so used to it. So that's another factor. They happened, then another family member actually encountered them for the first time. Now they believe me. They was like, no, what you're saying is true. I'm like, yes, I know it's true, dude. But in all sense, it's like, if that house end up in my hands or whatever reason, I don't want it. Like, I'm being honest. I
Yeah.
sustain any kind of stuff, and Grotesque can account for this. It's like, whatever noise is, I just gonna jump out and face it. You know, I don't care.
Come on, what?
But and I have good guts for this, you know, for creepy stuff, because I'm being so exposed to it. But I don't want the house, not even visiting. I just went when I was back in Puerto Rico. I just went one time, went in only one time, and it's basically the rest of the hour I was there, I spent it outside in the field. I'm like, nope, I'm not going inside the house. That's it. There's so much stuff
Yeah,
happening,
that was-
and so many things happen.
Especialmente en San Germán. For those of you listening que no sepan, San Germán is like one of the oldest cities
Yes.
in Americas.
Yeah.
It was established, I think había gente ya in 1514.
Mm-hmm.
So Puerto
Yeah.
Rico was divided into two San Germán took care of sort of the south and west, and después San Juan took care of the rest, ¿entiendes? Pero
Yeah.
San Germán and San Juan were the two cities in Puerto Rico that people lived from the beginning.
Yeah, there's accountings. I'm not don't quote me on this because it's been a long
Sí.
time. But there's accounting that mentions or there's traces that they actually came from San Germán, then eventually end up in San Juan.
Yeah.
And I know for sure that San Germán was connected with other towns and other places. That it was huge initially.
Yes.
So, but yeah, San Germán have a lot of history,
A lot of
museum
history.
stuff, subtunnels, subterranean tunnels connecting. There was a lot of death in those tunnels because that's where people used to try to hide from the war, um, from the slavers and all kind of stuff. So there was a lot of blood spill in those tunnels as well, and that connect the whole city basically underground. But yeah, there's a lot. Thank you for those details. There's a lot of stuff, but I think if I can jump to the last, like, I mean, the biggest impact in the house. I think, like, the house is typical Puerto Rican. It's a big house, long hallways, full of portraits and pictures, and that always creeped me out in Puerto Rican houses. Um, it's basically that's the art on the walls. It's pictures of family member or pictures of
Yeah.
Jesus
Very
Christ or
terrifying.
religious stuff, a cross here and there. Some of them extremely heavy that you're like, whoa, this thing fall in your head, you're down. And they don't care. There's babies running around, they don't care. But so one of the times that I was overjoyed a little bit because I was like, it was creepy. It was creepy, but at the same time, I was like, okay, now I pointed on their face of my family member. Now you believe me. So I was laughing. At that point, it's like, okay, this happened to me so many times, but it never happened to other family members, and not even in this capacity that we had. Like my grandma was in the room, in the living room. My uncle was in the living room, and I think one of my brother, a small one, was in the living room. So we had this big Jesus Christ portrait, super heavy, and we had a cross in another different location on the living room on the walls. The location where this cross was, there's no way that the wind from the outside, will hit it. This is one of these dead spots that there's no wind. And we don't have a fan, we don't have a ceiling fan or anything like trying that can knock that off of the wall, right? So anyway, we were talking there. I was in the kitchen. I'm looking over to my family members, and at the same time, I'm looking at that wall that have the different portraits and pictures and that big cross. And that cross is kind of heavy. I forgot it was kind of marble with something material.
Te mata, sí.
So yeah, if that falls in your head, you're dead. So my grandma is basically like 1 or 2 feet away from that, sitting in the recliner, enjoying her life. The thing is that they were talking about something. About something is another family member. I don't want to mention too much detail, but I'm pretty sure that member was cursed or something. It's very intensive activity with that person.
I had something on
So
her.
yeah, she has something. So my uncle was talking about something that he saw coming out her room. He saw. Long story short, that's another huge topic. I'm not gonna touch it today. He saw something. His room, he can overlook her room door. It's across the hallway. It's right there. He saw like he called it like this, like a black angel crawling the ceiling of the house. Like, let's imagine it's flying, but it's basically touching the ceiling.
Yeah.
So he came out from her room and he went out of the house through the main door. That's when he started like, oh shit, there's something weird about that room and the person
Yeah.
that is in there. But he's mentioning this, he's telling this to us, and it's not something new to me because I've seen similar stuff related to that family member. But the thing is that when he mentioned that, the cross fell from the wall and it broke into pieces in the floor.
Oh damn.
Oy.
Then I start. I mean, I did the wrong thing that you can do here. I started laughing because I'm like, okay, there you go. Then I pointed in their face because I was so frustrated that years and years and years I've been telling you guys there's something here, and no one. They think, oh, Tower is crazy. This person is crazy. Whatever.
Yeah.
Um, you know. But then that happens. Then there was another confirmation, and stuff like that started happening. And one of the weirdest thing is that I don't know what can you call this, or maybe some kind of messaging, some kind of message. Sorry. The hallway was full of portraits and family member pictures, and it got to a point that some of those pictures are gonna fall for whatever reason. Again, there's no way there's air coming through that with that force to
So
throw
you mean
something
they
in the
just
floor.
started dropping like I don't
They
know.
started dropping, but not like a movie. It was like every time one of those fell, and it happened only like 3 times. And but it doesn't matter. It wasn't like something targeted specific. One of them fell, and we started connecting the dots. Every time one of them fell, one of our not close but family member, maybe distant family members, died. And it's not because something in the house. It's like a signal. Hey,
Like like
uh, to
yeah, like a
to
warning.
to the yeah, like a warning, to the point that my grandma said, "Hey, another of the portrait fell." I'm like, "Oh no!"
Oh
And
wow.
then
You
eventually,
guys
yeah,
knew knows.
then another family member that we knew he was on already in a deathbed, basically, he just died like days
Wow.
after, and it happened 3 times with 3 different family members. So I was so tired of those stuff.
You never
It's
want to
like
see yours on the floor.
you go home, but yeah, the portrait is not related to the person that
Oh,
ended up
okay,
dying.
okay.
It's just like a signal kind of thing. It could be just a typical horse picture, falling on the floor. It doesn't matter. But it was like something fell, and it give you like this advice, like, hey, watch out, something's gonna happen.
Oh wow.
Like,
That's crazy.
but yeah, it's a lot of stuff. But I think going back a little bit to the person calling out your name.
Crazy.
One time I was alone in the living room. They knocked the door, and I was 100% sure it was my mom. I used to live on the first floor.
Mm.
I had my little brothers were sick, so I'm like, okay, maybe she came down to grab medicine. So again, like clear reaction, I just say, "Who is it?" And no one respond. Then I just stay by the side of the door
Hmm.
because that door you can look through it. It have like glass, but not this cover broken glass pieces that you cannot see. That one you can actually see through it. So I stay on the left side of the door, like okay, hitting a little bit, waiting for a reply, waiting for another knock. Nothing happened. So I look through the window. I don't see anybody at the door. I just put my bravery hat on, and I think one of the biggest mistake I did in the house. I just opened the door, and the silence was extremely loud. Like, to be honest, it's like, dude, something needs to move. Not even the wind moving the plants or anything. It was like dead silence.
I hate that silence.
The house is big, so you can if you go to the left or the right side of the house, you can see even there's someone even running away from the house. You will see it. You have visibility. I look both ways, nothing. I stay there for like 10 minutes trying to analyze the sounds. Maybe I hear something crunchy on the woods. Maybe someone is actually trying to rob, whatever. Um, Nothing. I closed the door. Then I ran to my room because I had this urge of getting away from that living room. It ruined my whole night. It was like, nope, I
Yeah.
cannot stay here. So I was uneasy all night after that.
Wow. But yeah,
So yeah, but again, I don't wanna I wouldn't wanna spend here. I can spend 3 hours talking about all the stuff, but my finish and this I haven't even mentioned the worst one. Maybe we can do another session.
we'll do another one
Um,
because I feel like all of us have too many to like talk
yes,
about.
and yeah, it's a lot of feelings involved, and again, end note is that I'm not going back to the house, and I'm sorry, family members, but I've been telling you guys, and yeah, and again, years and years, they give me approve the basically what I was telling. They started feeling the same things, in different occasions. Marbles falling at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. Then my uncle jokingly saying, "Hey, those are the kids playing," and I'm like, "What kids? What are you talking about?" Then the person living in the same house started hearing the marbles falling in basically few feet away, and there's no one. But my uncle keeps saying that there's a kid playing with the marbles. So it's like, is this a joke or what?
They make it a joke to survive the experiences, like
I
Yeah.
suppose.
It's an
that's
emotional defense.
yeah, it's an emotional defense. Like at a point, they start just making a mockery out of it, so they can go on with their day and not think about it too much. So I get
Yeah.
it, but yeah, like all these experiences, Aguada, Ponce. There's a ton more that we've experienced, and it's crazy. Like Puerto Rico has its haunted stuff, and it's
A
everywhere.
lot. A
It's
lot.
it's everywhere. It's a lot of tragedy in that island in the past. The Porcilla. There's a lot of hauntings. There's a lot of stuff there. Negativity and darkness in there. So yeah, I think we can wrap up, right?
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you,
great.
Tower, for your
Thank you,
super
Tower.
stories.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to
Part 2 of
another episode or something because I'm really intrigued by your story.
right. I feel like we can talk about this
So much.
for so many
Yeah.
episodes.
Thank you for having me. Definitely, yeah, excited to be a part of. And again, I have so many stories. It's a big family, big house.
So yeah, we have to
So
do that.
yeah,
So yeah, thank you for everyone who has been on chat or lurking around. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, here on Twitch to see more of our streams. You can also find us in other episodes of Chancla on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Google, and Apple Podcasts. So thank you, everybody, and see you guys next weekend.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah.